We all coexist with the natural environment, but the environment sometimes threatens our lives. Yokohama City is taking measures to protect you from natural disasters. Localized torrential downpours, known as guerrilla rainstorms, have been occurring with greater frequency throughout the country in recent years. And Yokohama City, too, has often been struck by floods. Yokohama City is currently constructing drainage facilities that will enable the handling of torrential downpours of 50 and 60 millimeters per hour. But there has been an increase in the threat of floods from downpours in excess of this. In addition to these facilities, we should learn to protect ourselves in order to minimize the damage. This has prompted Yokohama City to create flood hazard maps to indicate areas at risk from inundation. Flood hazard maps consist of two separate maps, the inland flood map and the river flood map. The inland flood map shows flooding due to downpours overwhelming the capacity of drainage systems, causing water to spout out of manholes and gutters. On the other hand, the river flood map shows flooding due to rivers breaking their banks. Both maps show the areas and depths of anticipated flooding and information on areas particularly at risk. On the back are instructions on what to do in a flood, warnings, and other information. Flood hazard maps will provide important guidance in an emergency. You are advised to base your decisions on the maps and confirm ways to deal with emergencies to protect yourself and your family. Families and neighborhood groups should hold discussions on these maps to ensure greater awareness for disaster prevention in preparation for emergencies. Let's take a look now at what can be done to minimize the damage from floods. The back of the hazard maps is divided into green, blue, and orange sections that provide instructions on what to do in a flood and warnings. The green section summarizes how you can make preparations in everyday life and what to beware of during torrential downpours. For example, you can ensure that street gutters and inlets remain unblocked. Keeping them clean will allow water to flow and limit inundation. Moreover, there is information which you can refer to on what to do when alarms and warnings have been issued. The blue section provides a summary of warnings to people living in danger zones as indicated on the inland flood map. For example, you are advised to escape to higher floors of buildings when there is a danger of flooding as judged by information on TV, radio, or internet. If you are in the semi-basement floor of a house or underground parking place in particular, you should evacuate immediately to higher floors. It is also important that sandbags and planters be used to prevent flooding. The orange section provides a summary of warnings to people living in danger zones as indicated on the river flood map. Adequate care must be taken when it is necessary to venture outside during floods due to gutters and manholes without covers which may not be visible. When driving a vehicle, low-lying underpasses may be submerged, requiring great care. Underpasses in danger of becoming inundated are indicated on the hazard maps. Other countermeasures include prior confirmation of areas at risk from flooding when designing new houses to avoid the building of basements if possible. You are advised to make full use of these hazard maps as a guide to disaster prevention. Flood hazard maps are available at all ward offices in Yokohama. They can also be downloaded from the city's website. Yokohama City invites you to make use of the hazard maps to enhance everyday awareness of disaster prevention, to protect yourself, your family, and the neighborhood by building a more disaster-resistant community.